Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. So for those of you who have been subscribed to my channel for a while, you'll know that I struggled with anorexia for 15 years and I've been documenting my recovery, showing you guys my highs, my lows, my relapses, everything being as honest as I can. And along the journey, I have grown to fall in love with so many of you. You have been the most amazing epic support, and I wanted to let you guys in as a friend. So I did do a story about my anorexia recovery, more about my journey of like a year ago at the beginning of my channel. But back then I was still timid in front of everyone. I wasn't as exuberant, I suppose, as I am today, and so I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more in depth. I've had so many questions because I have grown to care about so many of you guys. I hear a comment often that breaks my heart. A lot of you say that you're so deep in your eating disorder that you can't ever see yourself coming out of it. You just say people don't get as deep as I do. So I thought I would really just let you guys in and let's just get straight into it. You guys have been friends to me on my journey, so I want to be a friend to you and really just let you guys in. So I'm half Italian, half South African, BT dubs. Mother South African, father's Italian. They created this, the Jackster, the Jacksmeister. But I did grow up on an island called Mauritius. Anyway, Mauritius, we didn't have a lot of magazines. It wasn't about comparing your body to anyone. There was none of that. It was just about come as you are, live in flip-flops. I remember when we moved to Dubai, I was like, what do you mean I have to wear shoes to the grocery store? What is this place? Okay, it's not a birthday, it's not a funeral, it's not a wedding. Even at weddings in Mauritius, we didn't wear shoes. But Dubai was very different and things changed a lot. So as a kid, I was a very competitive swimmer and gymnast. I come from a very sporty family. So I was training every day before school, after school, and then from overtraining, I had a shoulder injury and I had to stop cold turkey. And then I gained a lot of weight, which is fine because my body actually needed that rest and it was probably the best thing that could have happened to me. But with that came severe bullying, but like really heavy, horrible bullying. I ended up hating school. I didn't have one friend there. But at the same time, my parents went through a really rough and messy divorce at home where home was absolutely brutal to be here. I got home and I hated the feeling in it. I just wanted to leave, but I felt so unhappy at school with all the bullying that I actually felt worse there. And I didn't have a safe place or a place where I felt comforted or I could just relax. So I ended up gaining so much weight from comfort eating. I ended up gaining a lot of weight, and the more weight I gained, the more I was bullied. I had to end up wearing plus size clothing because stores didn't sell my clothes size anymore. And I just remember being so miserable and, like I said, just needing that safe space, just needing to find that sense of control. I couldn't speak to anyone at home because everyone is fighting their own wars and their own battle. I couldn't speak to anyone at school because I didn't have any friends there and I was being so bullied. So I was like, well, I can't really afford a therapist right now, and there was no YouTube, so I couldn't speak to a camera. And I just remember thinking that there was just no way. There was so much emotion inside of me and no way to vent it out. And that's when the bulimia started, when I would binge, and then I would purge, and it was that sense of relief, that emotional relief that I wasn't getting anywhere else. And then from there, I started slowly training and slowly getting into running, because obviously it was my shoulder that was messed up, not my legs. And I became addicted to that endorphin rush. It was the only way I again knew how to deal with my feelings, was by either purging or was by either training or exercising. And then slowly as I started losing weight, I started hearing positive comments from the woman at the grocery store, from the woman at the coffee shop. And I was like, okay, this is the only time that I have heard compliments. And it was the only time I was actually ever getting compliments or attention from people. And I just thought I had felt so faceless and so lost in a crowd. I just felt like a bit of a wallflower, and I was like, I need to peacock myself. I always do this. It's like, this is a peacock. Like, I needed to let my freak flag fly. And then I was known as the girl, the fit girl, the girl that was always running, as I lost so much weight. But then I became pretty much obsessive about healthy food. Next minute, I started developing a fear of butters, a fear of all what I thought was unhealthy food, what every magazine told me was unhealthy food. Linda, you know how I feel about magazines vilifying foods right now. Not cool. But I started slowly restricting that. And then I decided to go full vegan. Like, I went from a South African family, explaining to a South African family that you're gonna go full vegan. Back in the day, back before we had gourmet burgers and Beyond patties and anything like that. That was interesting, let's just say. But I was vegan for 10 years of my eating disorder, and that meant I felt safe when I had a reason to avoid butters, when I had a reason to avoid creams and milk and most items on menus. I'm sorry, I can't have this sandwich because I'm sure it's been contaminated. And then also I started avoiding anything with gluten in it. I would tell people that I was allergic to gluten. I told people I was allergic to rice. I would say I was allergic to alcohol so that I didn't have to drink. I started making up all these allergies, and I started looking for any reason I could to justify why I wasn't eating a food. Then I stopped eating in front of people altogether. And it went from being vegan to fruitarian and then a keto-based vegan. Don't even, honestly, that timeline just stunts me. But you know what? I couldn't control how the kids treated me at school. I couldn't control what was happening at home. All I could control was what I put in my body, when I put in it, that food, and it gave me the only feeling of, okay, the world is crumbling around me, the walls are caving in, everything felt so unsafe, there was a horrible atmosphere, there was no one to speak to. I was like, but this is just my little thing. It is like, it belongs to me, okay? It's my thing to control. No one can take it away from me, anything like that. And that sense of control became, again, another safe feeling for me. So I stopped purging and just started restricting in general. So then I had left home and I was living in LA on my own for a while, and then when I came back home for Christmas holidays, it was my mom, brother, sister and I, we went to New York together on what should have been the best family Christmas holiday of my life. I mean guys, New York, Christmas time, seriously, I did propose to every single American there because I want to be American, damn it. And that should have been the best holiday of our lives. I don't remember any of it. I was too sick to ever leave the hotel room. I refused to eat in front of anyone. I became so embarrassed and shy about eating in front of people that even when it was a fruit salad or an apple, I felt like I was losing if someone saw me eat. I was like, no, I've just lost this battle. I've ruined this image in my head. I felt like a failure if people saw me eat. I was so harsh on myself. And I wasted away that entire holiday, but I became so frail and sick from my anorexia that I couldn't even walk down the road anyway without my joints hurting, without my bones being in pain, and I had gone completely yellow. I'd gone yellow, right? Stop a sentence on that. So when we went back to Dubai, I came back with my family. I literally was too ill to live on my own anymore, and I went to the doctor and I started suffering from liver failure. I was yellow because of the jaundice. My organs were just literally caving in and collapsing. My eating disorder was so bad back then, I was scared of every single thing. And even as a vegan, eliminated half the foods I could from my diet. And half the fruits, sorry, not foods, obviously, you know. So the one day my mom dragged me kicking and screaming to a psychiatrist here. Now in Dubai we don't have any eating disorder recovery treatment programs, support system. My mom couldn't afford to send me to a treatment or facility center anywhere else. So it was pretty much making do with what we have, winging it like there is no winging it. And that was an absolute mish. So we went to a psychiatrist here. Obviously none of them really specialized in eating disorders. So all the psychiatrist did was he put me on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication, but we're talking about horse-style tranquilizers. I genuinely could not walk around the house at all. I was so zonked out 3/4 of the time. But it chilled me out enough to where my mom would put food on a plate and I would just eat whatever was on the plate. And that was pretty much how I started refueling my body. But then after I came off the anti-anxiety meds, I was still on the Prozac, and this was without any type of therapy. They were just like, just take Muti. We call medication Muti, like sweet Muti. I think it's a South African thing. But anyway, I was like on that for about I've got to stop saying but anyway. I was on that medication for 6 to 8 months, and I remember living off of that. I had gone back to university to finish that in Spain, and I remember thinking one day, I'm not going to be the girl that lives on medication for the rest of my life to be normal. I want to have a normal life. So I woke up one morning, I'm a bit of an extremist, okay? And I quit my medication cold turkey. I was just like, I can't do this. Most people like to wean themselves off something. I'm like, let's just go balls to the wheel, let's commit like absolute bosses and gangsters we are. Anyway, so I quit that, and I'm not telling everyone else to do that. This is what worked for me. I am not prescribing this to anyone at all. Withdrawals were hard, but I thought if I'm strong enough today, this is how I need to fight to be normal one day. Otherwise, I'm gonna be the girl that lives on medication for the rest of my life and has to go for Prozac refills, and that just doesn't feel anything. I couldn't feel highs, I couldn't feel lows, And I'm a pretty eccentric person, I feel a lot of highs and a lot of lows. That's why you'll actually see, at one stage where my YouTube videos were all about vegan, keto, and, extreme health recipes. That was during the orthorexic stage, let's just say. And I was just still avoiding so many foods. I had this then orthorexia, this obsession with only health. I'm like, okay, well, I'll eat foods, but I'm only gonna eat healthy foods. Then YouTube came in and I was like, I couldn't do it on my own, and I couldn't do it without any help or support. And I remember my first food challenge like it was literally yesterday. In fact, it was exactly a year and 1 month ago when all I could do on camera was I filmed myself eating one of the really small Kinder bars. Wait. Bang, bang, baby. I didn't even plan this. I bought like a whole thing of them the other day, and they were 10 and I've only got like 3 left. But I remember all I could do, and I was restricting so much that entire day that I did my first food, and I filmed myself eating that Kinder. I was just like so scared and shocked and overwhelmed and elated. I felt like the person that I had fought to be my entire eating disorder, that health obsessive person, that person that literally was shred life, health life, everyone knew as the fit, healthy girl. That's all I knew myself as. And I felt this loss of identity. I didn't know who I was. It was so emotional having that one bite of a Kinder chocolate. And then that was my first ever food. I shared that with you guys, and with all the support and the love that I got from it, that I was like, okay, I can do this. The next week I filmed my Reese's peanut butter cup when it was just a tiny little chocolate, and that was all. But I was still being super healthy throughout the rest of the day. I would restrict the next meal if I was gonna have a big meal before, or even a little food. And that was still very much of a quasi-state mentality. When I moved back to Dubai after finishing uni in Spain, that's when my mom really helped to push me outside of this quasi-state of recovery, and that was at the beginning of this year. Even though I was still being very healthy, it was once a week I'd do a Food Friday challenge. But then when people started asking about how I eat after challenges, pushing myself more, and I decided I need to get out of this quasi-recovery. I need to do the most uncomfortable thing today to fight for a better tomorrow. And I started changing the whole dialogue between my head. I started thinking, stop thinking what would a person in recovery do, and start thinking, how would a normal person think? How would a person that has the relationship with food that I want be? So I created this vision board and was like, okay, to break out of quasi-recovery, what would be normal? It would be normal to have either a pasta for lunch or dinner or a burger on that same day. It would be normal to not restrict the meal before or the meal after, depending on what the meal I was having right now is. It's a bit of a mind twist, I'm gonna tell you right now. Saying that, I'm like a tongue twister. But that was that. And there are days where I relapse and I struggle. If I don't push myself every single day, and if I don't eat at least a few things that challenge me every single day, I regress and I go right back 6-10 steps. And that's why YouTube really helped me accountable by putting my videos out there, by speaking to every single one of you in the comment section below, by you guys sharing my wins with me, my losses. Not only were you guys there on my journey when I ate my first ever food, but you guys were also there the day that I found out that I had osteoporosis. And I put that up on camera, and I was vlogging that day as I found out, and I was like, everything I experienced, I wanted you to experience with me. So I was that girl with liver failure that couldn't leave the house, that didn't have one relationship, that couldn't speak to anyone, that felt lost and hopeless with brittle bones breaking in my room, hiding out alone. And yes, I'm still struggling to fight outside of it today, outside of my habits today, but I'm eating burgers, I'm eating the foods. It's not easy, but I'm doing it. And that's why I went into that whole all-in mentality, if you guys would have seen on my mom's birthday vlog, because I know that if I fight with everything I have today, I'm gonna have a better tomorrow. So no matter how much of a low, bad place you guys feel like in right now, there is a way out, and there is that hope, and there is that light at the end of the tunnel. You don't need fancy treatment centers. A lot of you that say there isn't that around you, I didn't have that. I wouldn't be alive today if it hadn't been for my mom dragging me into that doctor's office, the psychiatrist's office, doctor, psychiatrist, same damn thing. And I wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for it. And I know a lot of people don't have that support that I was blessed with when it came to my family. So I want to be that one for you guys. And yes, I do show you guys I struggle with a lot of foods today, and I'll cry and I'll break down. But you know what? I cry about the foods because I'm actually allowing myself to feel things, and I'm not hating myself for being scared of it, or judging myself or punishing myself saying you should be stronger. Every now and then I do say that, but I just wanted to let you guys in a little bit, bring you guys along the highs and the lows of the journey that I've had so far. Yes, every now and then I fall back into a quasi habit, but then I will use YouTube to help keep me accountable. You guys called me out when I used the shirataki noodle. You'd call me out whenever I did something that just wasn't right, and my family would as well. And it's just everyone around each other, holding each other accountable, and that's the only way we're gonna get out of this whole thing, you know, all intact. And I can't wait until the day I get to share a fun meal or a cookie with one of you. I don't know. But anyway, I hope you did like this or found it helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If maybe you want to feel less lonely on your journey, hit that subscribe button down below. And I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Mwah.